and turns through a beautiful park. Seasoned with 1988's triumphant driver, plus the man who finished a tick of the watch behind. A coterie of talented rivals as well. Sprinkle in blinding speed and heavy traffic. Spectacular crashes. And then, in absolutely perfect weather, add the people, the parties, the performers. Set the timer for great results, and you have today the 1989 Nissan Miami Grand Prix.
The 1989 IMSA Nissan Grand Prix of Miami is brought to you by Nissan, built for the human race. By Quaker State Motor Oil, the big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By Dunlop High Performance Radials, unleash the Dunlop legend. And by Martini & Rossi. Martini & Rossi makes the moment sparkle.
What a beautiful day for a race. And what a race it promises to be. The Nissan Miami Grand Prix. Hello, everyone. I'm Ken Squier. The crowds are here. The weather has never been better. And the cars are the most exotic and sleek racing sports cars in the world. 26 of them are lined up on pit road right now to participate in this great annual classic. Working with me is Bill Adam. And Bill, the competition is even tighter than in the last 2 years.
Well, it really is. The Nissan, once again, is on the pole, but not by very much. Bob Wollek got everything put together right. The BF Goodrich tires and the Porsche crew that's run by Jim Busby, and he is just a fraction behind Bravo.
0.4 of a second back. A year ago, it was 2 seconds. One of the cars that you've been touting all week is the Pontiac Spice Machine, that American product. That engine out there has looked pretty good to you.
Well, I was extremely impressed by that car at Daytona, and I thought when it gets to a street track, look out. Now, they did have some problems in practice and qualifying, but they found what the problems are, and I think if the race gets greasy, watch for the spice.
Nevertheless, the team on the pole for the third straight year is Team Nissan. Its driver, Geoff, is standing by with our Bob Barcia.
And Ken, something new has been added this year. The third year of the Nissan on the pole, it has been designated the Spirit of Miami. Each year, promoter Ralph Sanchez bestows that honor on a car that carries the hopes of this city in this great auto race that it calls its own. Geoff Brabham will be, at least for the opening stint. Geoff, you've got 24 fire-breathing machines behind you. Bob Wollek to your left, coming off the win at Daytona. How are you going to handle this first turn?
Well, you make me feel nervous. I haven't really thought about it. I just, you know, I've just got to try and get the jump at the start, and, you know, hopefully we can all get through the first corner nicely, and we can continue to race after that.
Best of luck. Geoff Brabham, who won a record 8 straight races in 1988, 9 altogether. It's an all-champion front row. Back in 1985, in one of the early Grand Prix here in Miami, the winner was Bob Wollek, who took a Porsche to victory. He's chatting right now with his crew chief, Mike Colucci. Mike, if I could get a quick word with Bob. Bob, you won this race a couple of years ago. How important is this first turn going to be with Brabham right there to your right?
Well, I don't think it's, yeah, it is the first time. I'm sorry, it was Brabham alongside, well, I don't know, his Brabham's son. It's just another race car driver.
But Bob Wollek is not just a rather race car driver, and I think you'll learn today that Geoff Brabham is neither. 2 classes will compete. The other is the Camel Lights, the smaller prototype cars. And Tom Blackaller joins our broadcast crew. He's standing by with the Lights pole sitter.
Thanks, Ken. The Camel Light class is the very, very competitive class in the GTP racing, and the fastest qualifier here is Brent O'Neill. These cars are lighter, but they're every bit as competitive as the GTP cars. I've raced these cars, and I can tell you these drivers are out for blood. Brent qualified on the pole 7/100ths of a second faster than the next car. Brent, that's very close. What are your thoughts this very instant?
Thanks, Tom. Well, we're just trying to get the car ready to go out to the track here, and we got a few butterflies, and I think we'll do all right. I have to thank all my guys on the team and NCNB for helping me make all this possible, and I think we'll be all right in the race.
Great. Well, that's a very close qualifying event, and I hope that you run away with it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, Tom Blackhaller, hurry back to the booth. Chris Economaki, the editor-publisher of the National Speed Sport News, is with us today. Captain Economaki, where are you, Captain?
It's Commodore today, my man. A Grand Prix is like a royal wedding cake, lavish and the product of a very special recipe. Cast of characters with strange-sounding names, exotic low-to-the-ground cars with siren-sounding engines. A special venue near the water's best, and a crowd of beautiful people dotted with royalty and a few heads of state thrown in. And today this recipe will come to fruition with the running of the Miami Grand Prix, the starting flag for which will wave moments after these commercials.
Me and my shadow strolling down the avenue. Me and my shadow.
The Nissan 240 SX. There's never been a sports car quite like it, except for this one, the 240 SX Coupe.
From Rocky Mountain snow to Florida sun, Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Mine's pushing 250,000 miles.
Quaker State engines run strong and run long.
95,000 miles and no problem.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
This car's new. I'd be stupid not to use Quaker State.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
When your Performance Pro bolts on Dunlop Performance radials, you share something with the world's most demanding race car drivers. Your tires are one with the road. Now you understand why performance is our passion. See your Dunlop Performance Pro for the ride of your life.
Martini and Rossi Rosso. Mixed with soda or juice or just on its own. It's stirring. Discover Martini and Rossi Rosso.
And we're back with you here at the Nissan Miami Grand Prix. 26 cars ready to roll, and let's take a quick look at the course over which they'll compete.
All right. As we exit down the front straight of the Miami Grand Prix track, we're in fourth gear approaching 120 miles an hour. Into the very, very difficult and very dangerous turn one. Watch how this tightens up right through here. That feeds us into turn two, which is a 90-degree right-hander. Extremely important as we want to get a clear run up this straight. And right there, turns 3 and 4, excellent braking areas for good, safe passing. The straight exiting that tight turn 4 gives another good shot in here. Little bit of a sweep to the right, over to the apex, back out as wide as we can, bend in for a second part here. Once again, we're setting up for a good spot to pass. This long straight that leads us back out towards Biscayne Bay is a good, safe area. Lots of room to get by other traffic, and here, really are straight on the track. Leads us into a critical turn 10. Heavy, heavy braking here from 165 all the way down to 80, and then hard on the gas again. We head up towards a long 180-degree turn 11, which feeds us back onto the main straight. This will complete our lap at the Miami Grand Prix.
And here is how they'll start in the Miami Grand Prix. And they're in that second preliminary lap to the start right now. In the front position, of course, it is the Brabham car. Geoff Brabham will be on the point. Chip Robinson, his co-driver. Starting beside him in the next position back will be this car. They both carry our onboard cameras, John Andretti and Bob Wollek. Then in row number 2, you have Davy Jones of the United States and Jan Lammers in the Jaguar, number 60, that is qualified 3rd. And outside of that row, it is Ludwig and Weaver in the number 86 car. Taking a look at the rest of the starting field as they come down. Price Cobb, last year's winner, is in row 3 with John Nielsen in a Jaguar. Albert Neon from Miami and Klein. The outside of that row. In the onboard camera, you're looking at pictures as they come down live through this section of the course. Row 4, Costos Los and that Pontiac. Ford and Olson in the number 98 from the Dan Gurney stables, the Toyota. Row 5, as we get set for a start, Shelton and Derek Bell in a Porsche 962, and Wollek T. Ribbs in the second Toyota. There's row 6. Field getting set for a start. Row 7, Steve Durst is there. First of the Camel Lights. Row 8. Here's row 9. The field through row 10, getting down for a start. Pace car is in. There's row 12. They take the flag, and as they come across the line, car number 83, Brabham, breaks out in front, the 1987 champion of the Nissan Miami Grand Prix.
I think a thing to keep an eye on the opening 2 laps, that number 60 Jaguar that currently is running in 3rd place. That's Jan Lammers, a real tiger. Watch and see if he's going to try and pass the BF Goodrich Porsche to take a shot at the Nissan right away.
Lammers is driving in the number 60, and he has been a thrash out here. Joining us in the booth, Tom Blackcaller, you were saying the other day as we go inside the Nissan car that is in the lead, he was doing some wallpapering or some de-wallpapering out around the wall.
That's right, Ken. We saw Jan Lammers take the paper off the wall at the outside of turn 11, meaning he was coming within 0.03 of an inch right there.
You are riding with the leader, and now you're about to the second place car that won at the Sunbank 24 at Daytona. And you're riding with Bob Wollek, and you can see the interval. There's Bob Wollek at work in the Porsche 962 prepared by Jim Busby Stables from California.
That is a picture of Bob smiling right there, and he will hold that smile all day long. A real Ironman, tremendous athlete, tremendous driver.
There you see the interval first, second to third. Nissan first, Porsche second, Jaguar in third, and Price Cobb has moved the second Jag into the 4th position. Dropping back was Neon and Klein. There is that 61 car that is running in the 4th position.
I think Price Cobb gave us one of the great thrills of last year in the victory he got down here. Just a stupendous drive. Incredible feat.
1 year ago, Price Cobb won this race for Porsche, driving for Rob Dyson by 4/1,000ths of a second. Incredible margin at the end of the race.
It was remarkable, and doing it with a 962 against the Jaguar. Here he is. He now is driving for the Jaguar, and I'm sure he would like to present his new team with a victory, much like last year.
Jaguar very much wanting to win here in Miami, and the surprise has been the Porsche 962, number 67. That car that's being driven by Bob Wollek, qualifying second. And Mike Colucci was saying a lot of that is with new brakes on the car for this race. First time they've been used in the United States on the Porsche 962, used at Le Mans a year ago.
I talked to Mike about this. They are a single caliper brake, very much like what you would find on a street car. Now, a lot of race cars have run a caliper with two calipers on each rotor, but they found that the amount of heat that was generated by the 2 calipers, taking away area that you could dissipate the heat, wasn't really as effective on a street course like this. So they changed it, and they're delighted with these Brembo brakes.
Cuts out a couple of pads, too, about a pound per pad, so it's a little help there.
A little less weight, and they're carbon fiber brake pads as well.
I believe Walter Brune had tried those in the Sunbank 24, and they had some problems, but we'll see what develops here. They certainly qualified this car in an amazing manner that's now running in second place. Meanwhile, out in front it remains Geoff Brabham. Brabham stays in front. Wollek stays in second. Jones is in third.
Very familiar picture.
In fourth is Cobb. With the strong Nissan presence at this race, we asked Geoff Brabham if it added any extra pressure.
Well, basically, I mean, being a professional race driver, you're always under a lot of pressure. And it's not only having everybody from Nissan here this weekend, it's also representing Miami and Ralph Sanchez with a extra Spirit of Miami official entry this year. So, there's a lot of people out here hoping that we do well. And, all I can say to them is I'm going to go out there and try my best.
Trying his best, leading right now, it is Geoff Brabham. Winner here in 87, on the pole for 3 straight years. And that remarkable year, 1 year ago, 8 straight, 10 in all.
Fellas, running in hot pursuit of this man, Geoff Brabham, right now is Bob Wollek. And it's very pertinent, I think, to bring up the issue of physical fitness in this race. Back in 1985, when Bob Wollek won, he drove 2¼ hours of a 3-hour race in temperatures about as high as they are today in the mid-80s. And I can tell you, down here on pit road, it's a lot hotter than that, certainly even hotter still on the racetrack. Wollek used to be a member of the French national ski team. He is a world-class tennis player. Even though he's up there around 40 years old, if there's one guy you're going to count on in the late stages of this race, if he has to go all the way, it's Bob Wollek.
What does he mean, up there around 40, Black Hall?
That's not too old.
I think watching Bob in that car there is really excellent in-car footage, and you can see that as he's driving at these speeds, 160 miles an hour, he really is very relaxed. Watches his hand movement on the wheel the next time we get a chance to. Watch his eyes. He's sitting, getting into a very comfortable rhythm. That, in the long run, is going to save him a lot of energy, and he is going to be fresh at the end of the race.
The boys in the Nissan think they're down 100 horsepower in power because they've restricted the turbocharger, but the car seems to be going just great.
Sure does. Here it is, and you can see the advantage that it is developing over number 67, the Porsche 962, in second spot. And what a remarkable year we saw this car have a year ago. There's the interval between the Nissan as it continues to run that stormtrooper fashion that it did a year ago, taking no prisoners, winning everywhere it went last year.
It really was an awesome performance, the likes of which I'm sure they'd love to duplicate this year, but I can't see that happening. I think the rules committee of IMSA have made some smart changes in trying to restrict that motor and hopefully bring it much more closely aligned with the other cars. Look at the bumps there. That puts a tremendous strain on your forearms in these cars.
Scott Schubot and Linda Lubin lead in Camel Light. It is Brabham leading in the overall.
If you love cars, you'll love Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring. Every week, Auto Week puts you inside the world's most exciting cars. GTs, sports sedans, collector cars, 4x4s, front drivers. Auto Week makes you an insider with industry news, personality profiles, old cars, columnists, the best classified anywhere. And nobody covers racing like Auto Week. You get the fastest coverage of Formula One, sports cars, stockers, Indy cars. It's all in Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring every week. Call 1-800-554-3000 to get a full year of Auto Week at our special discount price. Just $17.25 for 52 issues, only 33 cents a week. You'll save 83% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-554-3000. Let Auto Week put you in the driver's seat every week.
Tonight and continuing all month long, where can you find team-by-team Major League Baseball spring training reports?
You've got to turn on SportsCenter on ESPN.
When the engineers at Nissan designed the new 240SX, they wanted it to have certain acceleration characteristics. Superior cornering was another important consideration. And they had some very definite ideas on performance. The Nissan 240SX. It's a lot of sports car, but you can handle it.
It's just a pure and natural beer. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and Beechwood aged for over 110 years.
The Nissan leads the Grand Prix of Miami over this car, the number 67. There you see him into lap traffic, moving under some Camel Light cars and putting a shoulder to them. Grab him as he continues around this 11 turn, 1.8 mile course. Ken Squier alongside is Tom Blackhaller and Bill Adam. And we're watching the number 83 just scurry through traffic and now beginning to build up a bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, and you can see that Geoff has made a change already. He now has lights on in this car because there was a little bit of contact between those cars. We're back with Bob Wollek again, and watch his hand action on the wheel. You see, physically, very, very demanding. There's a lot of kick back, and look at that, back end mode a little bit. But look, he's very relaxed. See his hand movement, just second to third gear there. Okay, there's back end to second. Accelerates smoothly through. Look at him feeding that steering wheel. There's third. just gently back and forth. It's a fluid motion with him.
Outside, it looks like a thrash. Inside, it looks like an easy Sunday afternoon. From the Nissan, out in front, leading, Brabham. 10 wins. They'll move to 11 in the overall IMSA category. GTP for these big cars. And car 79, one of the Pontiacs, is down.
That was the John Paul Jr. car.
That car was second qualifier in the Camel Light class. He was only 7/1,000ths of a second behind the 25 car. But in Camel Light, Scott Schubot is leading now as Geoff Brabham chases up behind a Camel Light Ferrari.
Boy, and headlights blazing on that car. Get out of my way.
He wants that Ferrari out of the way.
Gaston Andre's car giving a little ground there as the car number 83 continues to roll around this 1.9-mile approximately course. Same championship style we saw a year ago. 1 year ago, this car had developed a lead early in the going, and then they had a brake problem.
Yeah, 2 years ago, it did the same thing. It has led every single year and yet has yet to do well at this race. It wasn't even close to winning last year because of the brake problems.
Well, in 87, it came through. Oh, we got a major problem.
That's Gianpiero Moretti, and of course, that's the corner right at the end of the straight. The fastest section where you're under very, very heavy braking, and he has hit the tire barrier.
This will no doubt bring out a full course caution. They'll have to move those tires back in along the wall. Whoa, there goes a car through there. The yellow flags are probably going out all around the course now as Massimo Sigala has banged the tires real hard and bounced back across the course.
That's turn 11 right at the end of Biscayne Boulevard before you pull into the artificial part of the course where this incident has taken place. Earlier today, they had a major 4-car shunt in a Barber Saab race right at this identical place. And they're wondering where he is. This is the second incident in which this car has been involved this week. Bill, my recollection is 87. Brabham was victorious here with that Nissan. He brought that one home finally. They had some problems there. Maybe we'll get
Maybe
back.
You're right.
Yeah. Car number 30 lying here with the front end badly torn up. And as I say, this is the second incident they've been involved in since they got here. That is a big, bad break for Moretti.
They have had dreadful luck this year, if you can call a crash like that luck, either bad or good. And they literally destroyed a car at the Daytona 24 Hours, too.
Moretti's car crew worked all night last night. I was watching them. They were having spaghetti and working on the car at about midnight. And they worked real hard to get the car back from a crash. Wow. Very similar to this yesterday afternoon.
Now the front end looks like spaghetti. Bad break for Moretti and Sigala here this afternoon at Miami. And we'll be back with more of the action after these messages.
Clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Ollie, if you don't hurry, I'll miss my plane.
Well, I'm doing the best I can in this terrible rain.
Would a new set of Vanco wiper blades help?
Certainly. Put them on.
Change to Anco, the best-selling brand of wiper blades and refills.
There, now I can see an airplane. Airplane! Oh!
Don't worry, Ollie. It wasn't mine. That's mine.
Oh!
Anco, the best blades you can buy. Test prove it.
Introducing the FZR 600 from Yamaha. Don't say we didn't warn you. Ask about no money down financing at your local Yamaha dealer.
under caution in the early going of the Nissan Grand Prix of Miami after Gianpiero Moretti of Milan, Italy, has crashed his Porsche 962 severely. He's climbed out of the car, but the car looks to be a write-off. It's Nissan continuing to lead with Geoff Brabham. You're riding with him right now, just behind the pace car. After losing the 1988 Manufacturers' Championship by just a few points, Team Nissan has made some major changes to strengthen their 1989 effort. A unique change is the addition of Chip Robinson.
In 1988, Nissan driver Geoff Brabham won the Camel GT Championship, but the company came up 1 point short of Porsche's total for the IMSA GTP Manufacturer's Crown. In an effort to sweep the table in 1989, Nissan has brought in 87 Series champion Chip Robinson to partner Brabham, and the new combination is working.
You know, he did a great job setting the cars up for us today, because I went in a completely different direction. It didn't work. And we changed it for qualifying and went back to chip setup, and it would really transform the car. So, you know, if anything, pole today was contributed as much to him.
Robinson's relationship with his new team has renewed his enthusiasm and excitement for racing.
I didn't have a very good year last year. You know, all the events that went on, it was a pretty difficult year for me, and I'm just really optimistic about this season and getting on with this team. They're a great bunch of guys, and they're a lot of fun to work with, and they work hard and they try hard, and it's great to be in a team that's got that kind of attitude.
Brabham also faces the new year with confidence. After all, in 1988, he wasn't supposed to win anything. Instead, he took 9 races and the championship.
Really, as far as I'm concerned, the slate's quite clean, and this is a new season, you know, and you know, we've got different competition to deal with that we didn't have last year. Different rules really to abide by. So, you know, we're very happy that we're on the pole, and it proves that we're going to be competitive this year, and you know, hopefully we'll see what happens as the year unfolds.
What has happened thus far is they've dominated this race until we came to caution when Moretti's Porsche 962 crashed and is now being taken off the track. We've been under caution here for several minutes while they work that 962 back off the race course. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
I'm with Chip Robinson, the former IMSA champion, teammate to Geoff Brabham. He's found a shady spot behind the pit to sit and take it easy on this searingly hot day. Drivers in these cars really have a tough job. Chip, you can see Chip's uniform. It's quilted, it's very heavy, and it's extremely hot. Chip, what's it like when you get all heated up in one of these things on a day like this at the wheel?
Well, it's pretty uncomfortable, and that's one of the reasons why we wear the cool suit, which you see underneath. And you know, we get out of the car, it is sopping wet. It probably weighs 5-6 pounds more than when we started. It's actually very heavy.
What happens to your ability to take on tough situations when you're so hot and so fatigued?
Well, clearly, the hotter you are, the harder it is to make good, clean decisions. And that's one of the reasons why they've started using cool suits. It keeps the driver fresher and able to make the right decisions late in the race.
Historically, cool suits tend not to be 100%. Have you ever had one go bad, and does that worry you?
Yeah, I've had them go bad, but I think twice I've had a problem, and it's, you know, it's a real strain when they do, but the benefit to them when they're working properly is so great that it's worth, in my opinion, taking the chance. It doesn't happen that often anymore.
Okay, now, what's the story today, Chip? Geoff is out there, it's under the yellow. What's your role going to be and when?
Well, depending on how the cautions fall and all, I'll get in probably in about an hour or so, do the middle stint, and if we have to make another stop towards the end, if it's close to the end, I'll probably stay in. You know, the problem with this race is that so much depends on the cautions and where they fall that we sort of had an initial plan. Geoff would start, I'd do the middle, and he'd do the finish. But that can change drastically by the time we get halfway through the race.
Keep cool, Chip. Thanks. Back to you, Ken.
Tom Blackcaller, that's what you need on one of those twin-hull boats out here when you race in Miami.
Chip's comments remind me of what people ask me all the time about sailboat racing and car racing. What is it that's similar and different about them? Chip's comment about making clean decisions, I think, is the most important thing in car racing. You have to make clean decisions all the time.
We're just about a lap away from a restart. Bill Adam?
Again, we have to watch for cold tires. These fellows, you can see they're wiggling around the track, trying to keep a little bit of tire temperature up. Here, just watch and see what Geoff's doing, just turning back and forth across the track, partly to keep tire temperature up to where the optimum range is, also to get rid of any debris he may have picked up.
On board the Nissan car now with the VFG car. the Busby Racing car carrying the Miller colors. And there you see Bob Wollek at the controls. Remember that Brabham is in first. Wollek is in second. The Jaguar of Jones and Lammers is running third. The Jaguar of Price Cobb is in fourth. Klaus Ludwig is now in fifth. Sixth is Albert Naon and Geoff Klein in the Pontiac. Seventh is the Dan Gurney car, the Toyota, Corden Olsen. Costas Los is in eighth as we get set. Next time by, I believe they're going to turn them loose. Next time by. Running ninth on the field is Willie T. Ribbs and Juan Fangio in the second of the Dan Gurney Toyotas. And running 10th, this is all GTP, Miller and Laurie. Now in Camel Light, it's Scott Schubot and Linda Ludeman up in front. And then it is the number 55, that's that Pontiac car of Scott Lieber and Dan Marvin running in second.
That car right there, the number 99, that's the brand new Gurney Eagle that he has just come out with this year. The other car, number 98, is really the European car, the one that was actually built in Japan for the WEC. But this is Gurney's own creation right here, brand new, and it still has a few teething problems. There's the old car. Just see very subtle differences. That one there is a little more rounded.
Stand by. Here's the field continuing. It's sorted out here at Miami, getting ready on a restart. NCAA Basketball Championship, Southern Conference. That's coming up 7:30 Eastern tonight here on ESPN. Still in a caution condition.
Notice that the lights in the pace car had gone right out there, Ken.
Getting ready to go.
Yeah, a little more vigorous wiggling of the wheels. Very interesting. Just look at the view through Brabham's windshield. Crystal clear. That's so important as the race goes on, and this is an added value that Brabham has here. Not having to follow traffic, his windshield stays cleaner for that much longer.
The pace car goes off.
Pulling for third. Geoff Brabham ready to take us back to the line. He'll go right to the wall. Out of turn 11. Into turn 1.
Watch this. See how wide it is here? And all of a sudden he's fighting it. Tires are a little bit cold. The car's starting to get loose on him.
Turn 2. Short
again. Just that little wiggling. Under hard acceleration, the car is breaking traction. Tires are not up to optimum temperature.
Into 4. Off and running. Geoff Brabham out in front here in the Miami Grand Prix.
You can see Geoff really does try hard to break away as quickly as he possibly can. Watch the Jags again. Look at this.
You see Wollek trying to gain some ground back after that wonderful start by Geoff Brabham.
Bob seemed to pick up a little going in there to let the Nissan pull away. Tremendous horsepower to that turbocharged 6-cylinder.
There are the Jaguars running in third and fourth. Lombers in the number 60. Price Cobb in the number 61.
The Jags seem to be running a very well-paced race. They're just hanging in there. They're close enough that they can pounce when the time is right. And it looks like they're going to make a race out of it, Ken.
Out Biscayne Boulevard at over 120. Here they are back up into turn 11. Headed for the start-finish line another time for the most massive crowd I've ever seen here in Miami for a race.
Tremendous crowd. You know, something else we can mention here, too, is that not only do we have a mark battle of Nissan leading, Porsche second, Jaguar third, we have a great tire war. The leading car has Goodyears. The Porsche of Busby Stable is on BF Goodrich tires, and the third place car, the Jaguar, is on English Dunlops. They bring hundreds of these Dunlops over themselves. They're not even serviced by Dunlop of America.
Last lap, 11-turn course, 90-mile-an-hour average, 1.87 miles the distance covered. Here's Chris Economaki.
Here's John Andretti, the winner at Daytona, sitting here in his undershirt. Johnny, you as cool as you look, and I'm not talking about the temperature.
Well, things are going really well for us. Bob Wollek has started the car, and he's done a lot of testing and practice with this car, so the Miller Porsche is really running well.
John, how important to you was the Daytona win?
It was very important. It was the biggest win of my career, and thanks to Derek Bell and Bob Wollek, Miller and Porsche, they all put it together for me, and I was just along for the ride, and I got really lucky.
Yeah, but now that means Indianapolis is coming up for you as well, does it not?
Yeah, definitely. I'm doing Indianapolis with Vince Granatelli, and hopefully I'll get a deal together for Le Mans, too, so do the big 3.
Okay, let's hope you and Wollek have a good day. Back to you, Ken.
You're riding with Bob Wollek as he continues to fend off two Jaguars, ready to leap, ready to pounce upon him with even the smallest error out here. The margin continues to build for Brabham, leading in the Nissan Grand Prix of Miami. Stay tuned.
When he's working, when his work is done, a man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no greasy stains. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Ollie, if you don't hurry, I'll miss my plane.
Well, I'm doing the best I can in this terrible rain.
Would a new set of Anco wiper blades help?
Certainly. Put them on.
Change to Anco, the best-selling brand of wiper blades and refills.
There, now I can see an airplane. Airplane! Oh!
Don't worry, Ollie. It wasn't mine. That's mine.
Anco, the best blades you can buy. Test prove it.
ESPN opens the door on NCAA basketball, slam-jammed with color and excitement. See a parade of outstanding players in sparkling displays every night. March Madness begins with an ESPN tradition. Championship Week, 62 teams, 31 games, 23 conference championships, the best basketball of the season. The color and excitement of Championship Week continues tonight, live on ESPN.
What if it were possible to combine the room and comfort of a sedan with the performance of a sports car? Nissan engineers have been working on such a vehicle. Introducing the 160 horsepower Nissan Maxima, the four-door sports car.
We're back with you once again at the Miami Grand Prix. And at the present time in competition, car number 9 is leading in the Camel Light category. This is the machine of Tom Hessert and Charlie Morgan. Tom Hessert, who had such a great year last year, had a rather inauspicious beginning this weekend. He crashed severely a day ago, but he's back here and running very well right now. It was the backup car that he had problems. There you see that lead car in Camel Light.
Yeah, Tom Hessert has been having a great race with Scott Schubot. Dan Marvin was right in the race up until about a lap ago when I noticed that Marvin pitted, which must have been some problem because in 45 minutes into the race, he wouldn't have pitted if there wasn't a problem.
And you see him putting a lap on Jim Downing, the father of Camel Light category competition. That red car is Jim Downing and Howard Katz. They go a lap down here.
In the earlier going, Ken, in the first caution flag, Downing and Uli Beery and Brent O'Neill all lost a lap.
We saw Costa Slows, one of the prototype cars, the Pontiac, scooting down the inside and picking off both of those lighter cars with so much more power. Chris Economaki is standing by with a gentleman who really created Camel Light.
I'm with Jim Downing, a man who was perennial champion at Camel Light, and he's not a happy man. Jim, what's the story?
Well, the same old thing happened. The pace car came out and split the Camel Light race in two. I was 100 yards behind the fourth place guy. Brabham passed me. The yellow flag came out, and the three other guys who were 100 yards ahead made a whole lap on us. Happens every single race. We get 1, 2, 3 laps behind for no reason at all. It ruins the race.
How can this be corrected?
It's easy. You just have a parallel line when you have the pace car. You run around 2 lines, and as the race gets ready to start, the Camel Lights drop back in single file. You have a much better race. All the P cars start together up front. All the lights start together in the rear. It's an easy solution.
Why don't they listen to you?
I have no idea. I can't understand it. We've been talking about it for 2 years now. I thought they'd agreed to give it a try, and they haven't done anything. It continues to mess the race up.
Okay, Jim Downing, not a happy man, Ken.
Can anybody give me a reason why that wouldn't work, why that wouldn't be effective?
It would work, and they should do it. There's no question about it. Downing suffered tremendously because of that stupid rule, and I agree 100% with him.
Here's the 99 car, the Toyota, in the pits. And to elaborate further on that, the pace car picks up the lead GTP car, but they don't necessarily care about what happens in the light class. So the light class got split up. They lost a lap, as I mentioned, and Downing is essentially out of the race. Downing and Brent O'Neill, and it's really too bad.
a lot of it's not paranoia. I mean, it's real. They feel like the little guys out there, and they put on such a good program, and they give these guys something to work on all the time. In these tight courses, you really have to think about those light cars. First to second is now 10 seconds.
Now, this is an interesting view here. We're in the B.F. Goodrich Porsche, and that's the Jaguar right ahead of us. In fact, it looks like the right rear corner of the Jag is missing. It is missing. You can see his tire right there.
That's the 60 Jag, and that's Jan Lammers.
A little bit of his bodywork is missing. His corner isn't missing. That's if his corner was gone, he wouldn't be driving too well. But he's looks like he's given Wollek a good race.
Really interesting comparing the braking powers of the two cars and the acceleration out of the corner. Now remember, the Jag is a 6-liter V12, fuel-injected V12. The car that we're in with the camera right now is less than 3 liters, turbocharged 6-cylinder.
You might add, it's heavily turbo-restricted turbocharged.
That's correct. The higher the revs, the more it gets strangled.
Jan Lammers in car number 60, currently being shown in second place. The 67 right behind it, giving us those pictures. We asked Jan Lammers if there was an aspect of that Jaguar that gives them an advantage, any advantage over Nissan.
I don't think so. The Nissan's got an incredible torque. They have that electronic wastegate and they have the turbo, so they'll be coming up the corners quicker. That's where we lose a bit. Our handling of the car is very good. We've got a very swift, maneuverable car. So the quick change of direct corners and the long straights are very good for us. But there's no long straight here. There's no change of direction corners here. So we probably have to work very, very hard to beat the Nissan here.
The Nissan has the advantage by 10 seconds over the scrap for second position. There you see Lammers, and you see him from the third place car being driven by Bob Wollek in the Porsche 962 B.F. Goodrich car that won the Sunbank 24 at Daytona. Back to the leader. Lights on, just using anything he can to indicate to other cars around him, let get caught in their mirrors in any way. He wants to come through, as he's doing right now, pulling up to put a lap on Tom Shelton and Derek Bell's car. Derek not particularly happy about being in that car. I think he's delighted he got a ride. This is the last time we'll see that car, but he'd really hoped for something stronger.
Derek is very pleased to be driving today, and in fact, the car that he will be in, the Shelton Ferrari-sponsored Porsche, is the car that won this race last year. That was the car that Price Cobb drove, and now it's got that wild yellow paint job. But Derek was upset, of course. He understands the reasoning behind it, that John Andretti and Bob Wollek are together. But it's like anyone. You don't like to be out of a race car watching. You like to be in there playing.
The car that
excuse me, John, problem with the Toyota. Let's go down and find out the story.
You're looking at Dan Gurney, a very dejected man. His baby, his all-American prototype, with the exception of his Toyota engine, is in the pits with trouble. A cracked blower duct. Earlier, the front end wasn't holding. It was understeering or pushing. These are the developmental problems co-driver Willie T. Ribbs talked about earlier when you have a new car. Little things crop up, and you can see the disappointment on Dan Gurney's face as he looks over the front of the car, holding onto the hood panel, hoping that it can get back out on the racetrack. At the wheel, a famous name, Juan Fangio II. His uncle, Juan Fangio the Great, 7-time world driving champion from Argentina. It's a big racing name in Argentina. And that's the story from the Toyota pit.
The story in the race is a tremendous battle for second place that's developing here on this lovely Sunday afternoon in Miami as we watch Lammers holding off Frenchman Bob Wollek.
Boy, and he is really tiger running. You saw Lammers just do a nice little bit of goaltending there. He went down the middle of the road and left Wollek enough room on the outside that he could look and see the concrete wall, but not nearly enough to get a shot at it.
Turn 11, back to turn 1.
Watch Wollek try and set him up out of this corner if he can pop. No, he's not close enough. The next area that he comes to is an excellent spot for braking maneuvers and outbraking. Like right here, you can sometimes slot inside.
Turn 4.
You'll notice how smoothly Bob Wollek is still driving. Even though he's having one hell of a race, he's just driving smooth, smooth, smooth.
It's a nice rhythm. Very, very good.
It's like he can't be forced into making an error. So my guess is he's going to pressure the Jag into trying to have the Jag make a mistake, and he just holds his pace and keep going.
Turn 8. Short straightaway here, good for 120 miles.
Here, look at this. Wollek is on the boost early. He was really on that power early, and he may take a shot at passing him down here. No, I don't know. He must have just missed a gear there because suddenly he lost the car length.
Biscayne Boulevard.
Now, the Jag went straight through right there. Look at this, clear track ahead of him. The Jag went past his braking point and has gone straight through at the end of Biscayne. There he is.
Lammers making an error at the end of Biscayne Boulevard. One of the fastest places on the track.
Very interesting. The smoothness of Wollek beats Lammers.
Lammers is usually so smooth. He's so quick and he's so fast, and you don't usually see an error out of him like that. And that was an error.
Yes, it was an error. Now, I think Wollek just filled up his mirrors one too often, and Lammers was maybe watching for him to make an out-braking maneuver, went past his own braking markers, and made a decision to go straight through rather than even attempting the corner.
Wollek always has that gentle smile. You can even see it in the car. And it's just like, I'll wait.
Now,
I'll get you yet.
Here's a replay. Look at the line that Lammers on. See the back of the car starting to slide? He's way too deep. And Wollek just turns the corner and
goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good night, nurse.
Lammers was passing David Loring, and he tried to come back to the right to make his left turn, and he made one too many wiggles with the car.
With the leader now. Lapping traffic. Camel Lights category. Geoff Brabham.
Just so critical, too. Look at the windshield on the Nissan. It is still untouched. No rubber marks on it, no oil. You can still see very, very clearly exactly what's up there. And it makes it very difficult. As the sun gets lower and lower, and with all this concrete wall around, very easy to almost get lost on a track like this. You can't pick out your braking points and your turn-in points.
Lapping Jim Miller, David Loring's car, giving room. You saw the car that's running in 8th place being lapped by Geoff Brabham of Australia as he continues to dominate the Miami Grand Prix.
Nissan builds cars for people who have a certain enthusiasm for the cars they drive. Of course, some drivers are a little more enthusiastic than others. Nissan, built for the most demanding race of all, the human race.
When you really need power, use Pro Stripper. Removes layers and layers of old paint or any other finish. Fast, easy on wood, easy on you. Non-flammable Pro Stripper when you really need power.
Carver Trip wood stains. Thick and color-rich. Twice as much pigment as other stains. Easy to use. Just one coat gives you perfect results. Try Carver Trip. Top quality.
This is a man, and this is an ant. Until today, only the ant's communication network was sophisticated enough to carry out man-sized tasks. Now, thanks to cellular communications, man can handle even bigger tasks. But if the man does not use Pactel, #1 cellular company in the U.S., the ant will still be the only one known for carrying out man-sized tasks.
You could get into boating bit by bit by bit. Or you could get into it all at once with a ProCraft fishing boat so complete all you add is water. ProCraft.
See the line of new ProCraft boats at Samcan Marine in Forest Park.
And the Porsche 962 that was discounted last year, some of this year, has already won race, lies second here today, and is alive and well, as Chris Economaki reports.
Every racing driver wants the latest and best car available. He wants the sleekest aerodynamics, the latest suspension, the most powerful engine with the newest electronics. And if his car doesn't have all of these things, he's not a happy driver. The word up and down pit road is that the Porsche 962, a car from the early 80s, is too old, particularly in light of the fact that its rival Jaguar, Toyota, Nissan, and Corvette designs are new and state-of-the-art. So what about these old Porsches? And how did one of these supposed antiques win the recent 24 Hours of Daytona, its 50th Camel GT victory in 5 years? Porsche closed down its 962 assembly line in 1986, And with one exception, every 962 here is a one-of-a-kind, handcrafted, home-built copy. Each reflects the original thinking of its builder, so no two are alike. Take this pair from the Miller BFG team. Even the untutored eye can see the difference in their shapes. Here in Miami, Porsche earned its third victory in 6 starts. A 500 average any baseball player would be proud to own. But if Porsche should add to that record with yet another victory here today, it will be in name only. For the car won't have come from a factory in Stuttgart, but rather from the workshop of a talented do-it-yourselfer.
Thank you, Chris. Porsche looking for its 51st win here today. Here's Bob Barsham.
I'm standing by with Mike Colucci, who's been a crew chief on some of those Porsche victories. Most recently, the Miller car at the 24 Hours of Daytona. Right now, he's got a driver, Bob Wollek, who stayed in the car while all the other leaders up and down pit road changed. Right now, Bob's not a happy man. Why is that, Mike?
Well, Bob said the car was so good and the tires were performing so well, he didn't want us to take them off unless they were absolutely worn out.
We made that change, so I guess that was the case. How's he doing physically? He's not getting out of the car.
Oh, he's fine. He wanted to stay in and turn it over to John at the end. He thought it would be better to make up ground in the middle.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good luck the rest of the way, Mike.
There you see the second place car ready to challenge. We're coming back out of a caution period. This is the second full course caution of the day. First of the day came when Moretti crashed. Second of the day has come with this Jaguar incident. Now, how do you feel about watching Bob Wollek out here this afternoon, Tom Blackwell? Pretty much putting on a one-man demonstration.
I saw Bob Wollek, I think it was 1987, at Sears Point drive the whole darn race. And all the other drivers were collapsing and stopping and falling out of the cars. And Wollek just was like an Iron Man, drove the whole race and one going away.
Yeah, I remember that well because I was standing in the pits waiting to jump in the car and he wouldn't let me in. Get out, Bob. It's my turn. Shook his head. He is incredible. I think this may be a really great spot for the viewers right here because we've got Wollek. He's got his teeth into this. All his soul is right there. And he's got Chip Robinson, who is cold right now. He hasn't run a racing lap yet today. He's off the pit wall. He's into a car that, yeah, Brad was tearing around in it, but it's a new car to him right now. So I think Wollek is really going to be a tiger.
And Chip Robinson has a lot of things to account for from last year. He was saying before the race that the way things went for him last year, he thought that he really had to have a good finish.
Well, to be totally honest, I was very surprised that Nissan made the choice of putting Robinson in with Brabham. Brabham last year drove as perfect a season as I think I've ever witnessed. I only recall seeing him make 2 mistakes the entire year. They were both at Del Mar at season end when he spun on cold tires at the drop of a green flag, and then that crash when he just got into the slipstream of the 86 Bayside car. Other than that, he had endless flawless performances. Chip, by his own admission, over the last couple of years, has had some real lapses of judgment which have destroyed a lot of race cars and have taken them out of winning positions quite a number of times. So he does have a lot of pressure on him.
Let's see what develops here this afternoon as we get set on this restart. Again, Brabham, Robinson in first, and it is now Robinson at the controls of the Nissan. And it will be Bob Wollek, who has been in the number 67 since the outset of the event, running in second place. The lone Jaguar, we've lost one of them when Lammers slammed a wall, has Price Cobb at the controls with number 61 in third, and Albert Neon has brought the Pontiac up to fourth. Now that is the sister car, the number 10 white Pontiac of the number 33 Costas Lowe's. That one has gone away, so you still got a chance. You were the one telling us you got to watch Pontiac.
Well, and I think too that the longer this race goes on, the worse the track conditions will get, and that benefits a light car. So yeah, I think they will continue to move up.
Neon and Klein are the last car on the lead lap. There are only 4 cars on the lead lap now, so they still have a real good chance with this restart. If their car is in fact working better, they can come on.
Pace car is going off, and that demonstrates the tremendous pace that Brabham said. We are ready on this restart.
Now let's watch for Jaws Wollek.
Yeah, and watch for Robinson feeling a lot of pressure coming out here cold. But Brabham has given him this lead. Let's see if he can maintain it.
Wollek put Lammers away. Let's see if he can put Robinson away.
Now,
for turn 2.
Right up into 2.
11-turn course. Just a slight kink is turn 3 coming up.
The way Wollek did it was just pressure, pressure, pressure. Smooth
and look
driving.
at this.
Right away beats him.
Took him 3 corners.
Into 4.
Incredible. He is amazing, that man.
Ooh.
I think that's just a quick dry cement where the Jaguar parked up against the tires there. They may have dropped the fluid out of the ready.
Speedy dry. Chip Robinson has to take time now to get himself acclimated to the car, not try to push too hard, let Wollek run a little bit, but get on the pace, because Chip's car certainly can drive with the 67 car of Bob Wollek, but Chip has to be patient here.
Yeah, this is a difficult point for someone like Chip, but for any driver, not just Chip, to get into a car that you know is capable of leading and yet have someone pass you, to have the maturity to sit back and to play your own game, establish the rhythm, bump your speed up a little bit at a time. Don't try and follow someone else's speed. And it's very difficult. That's what Chip has to do.
The two leaders have pulled away, guys. They've just driven off. Price Cobb, the winner here a year ago, back in third.
Price Cobb has some Cadillac cars in front of me.
The Miller car really does look good this year. They've done very slight changes with adding green to it, and it's a spectacular looking car. I like that paint job much better.
Fellas, after watching that pass and the issue of a new driver in a car being overtaken by a guy who's been in the race for an hour or so already, recall Sears Point last year when Geoff Brabham stayed in the car. Martin Brundle brought in the leading Jaguar, switched over to John Nielsen. Brabham ran him down and passed him just a few laps later and won his record 8 straight in the year. So there's really something to be said about having a guy in there, despite the problems it gives him physically, racing all this time by himself.
90-mile-an-hour average in the last lap, as the Porsche goes out in front and draws away. Again, a look at that pass.
And look at this, as the Nissan swings wide, Wollek just slots the car up the inside, straight line, very heavy braking, and then the Nissan can't turn back across because the Porsches are blocking it.
Took the wind out of his sails, Black Hall.
Robinson got a little oversteer there coming out of that corner, but he controlled it, and now he's pacing along, and I would look for him to come right back up behind Wollek.
Well, what Jim Downing was talking about keeping all of these prototypes together and keeping all the Camel lights, is re-emphasized here in these pictures as you see that third and fourth place car, in this case Price Cobb, out of the picture. Those two leaders getting away with that scramble of light cars and prototypes. If they put them all together, it'd be a cleaner shot for both categories.
Yes, it's quite for sure that Price Cobb had to wade his way through a bunch of Camel light cars, and the Camel light cars don't like it any better than he does. Here's Wollek leading the race. Chip Robinson not letting him get away.
Chip, it appears, is settling into a little bit of a groove now. Wollek established a fairly quick lead, but I think it's starting to stabilize a little bit.
And there's also a difference of about, what, 23 years in experience between these two.
23 million miles.
Chip Robinson trying to settle this number 83 in. Give it a run here. I would expect that we'd see Brabham complete today in the car.
I'm sure he will. Jim Busby really has developed a tremendous team. This is just such a force.
He's taking his time. He's paid his dues, but it's certainly looking good right now. The Jaguar, John Lammers, serious incident, out of the race and brought out a full course caution. Let's look again.
Here he is, just accelerates out of the corner using all the road right over and out of the picture. And as he reappears, watch the back end of the car. Watch the left rear wheel. Look at that trail of rubber. He started leaving it. In fact, perhaps something else locked up. Maybe the engine let go and suddenly locked.
2 laps before this, Lammers had slid off the course being hounded by Bob Wollek, so maybe something's wrong with this car.
Here's Chris.
Well, yeah, we just saw a replay of your accident. We wonder what it was that caused it.
Well, I think it was the right rear locking up, but looking at it now on television, I just realized that probably I damaged the car on the right rear, which made an oil leak on the right rear tire. So the right rear locked up so suddenly that I couldn't do anything about it, but probably before I touched somebody, so it shouldn't have happened.
What was the pressure from Wollek like?
Well, obviously, if somebody's behind you, you don't want to let him by, but that was okay. I should be able to handle that. But if you really, we have to drive it very, very hard against these turbo cars to really be competitive. And at first, I think I was driving it a bit too hard because the right front locked up going into turn, what is it, 10 or something. And then later on, I think my right rear oil cooler was probably leaking a bit on the right rear tire, which made it lock up.
Okay, better look at T-brake. Okay, that's John Lammers saying goodbye.
Magnificent day in Miami for a Grand Prix. A lot of folks enjoying it. We'll be back with more in a moment.
he's working, when his work is done. A man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
Martini and Rossi Rosso. Mixed with soda or juice or just on its own. It's stirring. Discover Martini and Rossi Rosso.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, for the team, for the sweat and for the drive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Gee, Ollie, this windshield's so messy, I can't see. We need new wiper blades.
I know that.
Make sure your windshield wipers work when you need them. Get a new set of Anco blades at least once a year and see what you've been missing.
Ollie, without new Anco wipers, we could have been hit by that piano. Oh. Piano? No!
Quaker State Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. The Jaguar team knows that the time a car spends stationary in the pits during a race is time lost on the racetrack. So they've worked hard to come up with ways of shaving that tiny fraction of a second off their stops that could make the difference between winning and losing. And some of the ideas are pretty ingenious. For example, to save time spent fumbling with the driver restraint harness during changeovers, they've attached inexpensive bits of surgical tubing between the car and the 5 straps that make up the harness. That way, when the incoming driver brings the car to a stop, all he does is flip the release, and the straps are pulled up out of the way, ready for the next man. Oh, and Jaguar's prepared to take these ideas where it finds them. Price Cobb brought the surgical tubing idea with him from his Porsche days.
And there is the Price Cobb car running in 3rd place here in the Miami Grand Prix. Most exotic sports cars in the world continuing to contest for a victory here today. A race that was won by Price Cobb for Porsche just 1 year back. Right now, it is another Porsche 962. Here's a car that's a collector's item that currently is leading this event. There's the leader. Recently, one of those cars was sold for over $400,000 to a collector, not to go racing. Maybe a collector's item, but it sure is a race car for Jim Busby. Won in Daytona and now comes to Miami in the second of this Florida series. They move on to Sebring, and the car looks as stout and as strong as ever.
It really does. It is not long in the tooth that everyone says it is. It's a very, very fine race car still to this day.
This is a car that we mentioned earlier in the broadcast is working with new brakes, and apparently it is helping. They were very elated about the way the car would react in the corners. They lost a little weight in that braking area, and with this 1 caliper and only 2 pads, it just seems to get them down into the corner deep. And the way Wollek is driving them, he's been very conservative. And he has the legs now, apparently, to stay up there. We'll see what happens as the race progresses. First to second is a 6-point interval, and lying third, several seconds further back, is that Jaguar, number 61 of Price Cobb. While talking to Price Cobb, we discovered he has something else on his mind other than this race.
At home, my wife Lisa is pregnant with our 2nd child. It's due any time at all. The other night, she started into what we thought was consistent labor, and we were going to have to go to the hospital. Didn't happen. She's now making me carry a cellular phone around so she can call me and tell me. You know, people have asked, what will I do if that happens? Well, in all fairness, there's nothing I can do. if she wants that kid to have nice clothes, I need to stay here. So I'll be there in spirit only.
On the other hand, if you see him make a quick move out through one of those escape roads, you'll know the cellular phone just rang.
Yeah, reach out and touch someone.
Here's Price Cobb. Last lap on the leader. That would be Wollek in the Porsche at 92-mile-an-hour average around this 1.87-mile course.
Yeah, just hang on, Lisa. He's busy right now.
There's the number 0 Porsche 962. That's the Ricci Claudbellina car. And they're getting under the number 55, a Pontiac car that we saw run last year here. Gave some very good accounting for itself. Dan Marvin and Scott Liebler. They are currently being shown second.
Just a nice move there, too, on that 180-degree corner. That Marvin just moved out far enough that Wollek could pull his car underneath and pass cleanly by. Just a little bit of a courtesy by a light driver. Marvin very good at watching mirrors and conducting their own races, which is very difficult.
Marvin is one of the best drivers here, Bill. He's been in Formula Atlantic for 10 years, and he has more wins in Formula Atlantic than anybody but Gilles Villeneuve. So he's a very experienced driver, and he's giving a 55 car a good run.
Gentlemen, while we're watching Bob Wollek, I want to get back to the issue of driver changes. It's all part of the fun of IMSA Camel GT Racing, seeing different men get in the same cars and seeing how they cope. We've already said Bob Wollek stayed in the car while Chip Robinson replaced Geoff Brabham in the Nissan. Didn't get up to speed, got caught and passed by Wollek for the lead. Keep in mind, Wollek's not going to be in his car at the end of that race. John Andretti, sitting in the pits right now, is the guy that the Busby team wants to push for the Camel GT Championship. He's going to have to get into that car late in the race. And you know who's going to get back into the Nissan? Geoff Brabham.
Meanwhile, that team in third place, Cobb and Nielsen, both veterans, both at the same level of expertise, could be a very interesting finish here today in Miami. It's the Miami Grand Prix being enjoyed by the largest crowd ever for this 1989 edition, 7th annual.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State engines run strong and run long because Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. The big Q stands for quality.
Come cruising with Quaker State and you could win this 57 vet. Buy a case of Quaker State and send for a free cruising cassette. Rock, Soul, Country, or California Sounds. And maybe win this vintage vet. The road goes on forever when you're cruising with Quaker State quality.
It started a car deserted on a frozen lake for 4 months, and 40 cars after 2.5 hours with their lights left on. Today's Die Hard, with power to start your car, and a whole lot more.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
95,000 miles and no problems. Because Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
When your Performance Pro bolts on Dunlop Performance radials, you share something with the world's most demanding race car drivers. Your tires are one with the road. Now you understand why performance is our passion. See your Dunlop Performance Pro for the ride of your life.
It's the hottest half hour of track talk. Join Bob Jenkins and Larry Newber for all the latest news and highlights on ESPN Speed Week. Friday nights at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
The 1989 IMSA Nissan Grand Prix of Miami is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by ANCO, premium wiper blades with superior white quality. Clearly the leader.
With Tom Blackcollar, Bill Adam, I'm Ken Squier, topside. In the pits today, Chris Economaki and Bob Barsha covering the 7th annual Nissan Grand Prix of Miami, and watching currently as Jaguar is holding third spot. In second is the Porsche 962, and out in front at the present time, rather I've changed that. Nissan is in second, and Porsche 962 is in the lead. First to second is 10 6/10 of a second. Jaguar, number 61 of Price Cobb, is the third place car trying to move up. In that second spot, it is Chip Robinson driving the Nissan, And the Porsche, Bob Wollek, who's been in the car from the outset, continues to dominate.
I just say that the car that we just watched Wollek go by, the Blackmaster car of John Gunn, seems to be getting into a lot of people's ways today. I don't think he's winning too many friends, and he just almost made an incident there for Wollek.
Well, that car also was in a major incident in practice yesterday, John Gunn's car.
Part of the fun of IMSA racing is getting around the other cars, and the big cars use the camel lights like billiard balls, and it actually makes it quite exciting, and a lot of people gripe about it, but as long as the slower cars hold the line, it's really up to the guys in the big fast cars to look out and make sure that they get around safely.
Must be very hard for both categories, because you do have to look out for each other out there, and you want to go so strong. And those Camel Light people, they're as determined as these guys. There's a lot of racing expertise and prowess.
Oh, definitely there is. I tried a Camel. Whoops. 98. That's the Toyota sitting there that spun out on turn 5.
Sixth-place car, Chris Cord, at the controls of Dan Gurney's last remaining hope in this race. The 99 car has retired.
Looks like there still is hope for that car, Ken. He's backing and filling, trying to get back on the track. Doesn't look like he hit anything. But, yes, he's underway. You can see his wheels spinning. He's going to have to back up now. Whoa, this is a dangerous spot.
Terrible.
He's staying in it, too.
Ooh. There he goes. He looks to be unharmed.
Third-place car coming around him. Price Cobb. Let's see what happened here.
Here we have again this long corner, and watch just the top of the screen. There he gets sideways. There might even have been a little bit of an impact between those two cars, because the car immediately coming into our picture, I can't even, no. You can see on the screen exactly where it happened. It's a quick right that leads into an even tighter left.
Right. Out of turn 5.
Yes.
I think you're right, Tom. You will be able to continue. It's like no serious damage there.
With the other Toyota out of the race, that's good for Dan Gurney's Eagle team. They at least still can have one car in the race. Chris Cord was telling me they've tested these cars a great deal. However, they haven't raced them very much. And this is their first real baptism of fire on a sprint race course.
6 previous races, the Porsche 962 has won 3 of them. It's a Chevy March that won the first race. Jag has won here, and Nissan in '87. Here's Bob Wollek.
Still looking as collected as when the race started.
See, that smile is still firmly in place.
Having a pleasant afternoon.
He's got his collar undone on his fire suit there, and the SCCA would throw him out of the race for that. It's a good thing this is IMSA.
Bob is the A.J. Foyt of IMSA. I don't think anybody would try and throw that man out.
He's the one that took on A.J. Foyt, as you recall, a few years ago. In no uncertain words.
Look at how the windshield's starting to pick up a little bit of a haze on it now. It's just getting a little harder to see. Watch when we get it. Look at this as we get into the sun now. The glare starts to get a lot worse. This is really where it gets dangerous. It sometimes makes it difficult to pick up little spots of oil or tiny piece of debris on the track.
Back to turn 2. Let's go to the Nissan camera for a moment.
Now, look at the difference in windshield. You can clearly see everything on the pavement. There is no problem with this windshield at all. There's a possibility this may be a glass windshield in the Nissan, and perhaps in the 962 chassis they're using a Lexan, a plastic type of windshield. Some people do this to save a few pounds of weight, and the only disadvantage is that it really scratches up very, very quickly.
Phil, the margin between the Nissan that we see here and the Jaguar driven by Bob Wollek is growing by about a second a lap.
There it is. The car number 61, Price Cobb in that Jaguar, maintaining that third spot. Jaguar's debut in the IMSA Campbell GT Series last year was the most successful in series history, but they were still outgunned. And this year, they've come back even stronger. Bob Barsha has more.
Jaguar ended 1988 the way they began it, with a victory. But tempering their success was the fact that John Nielsen finished second in the Drivers' Championship to Geoff Brabham of Nissan, who won 9 races and the title. This year, Nielsen wants revenge.
Well, what it's going to take, it's going to beat the Nissan, isn't it? I think that's the car this year also, and we've done a lot over the winter, and with something new coming up, so I think we can do it this year.
Among the improvements Jaguar made this year include better cars and a new recruit, the finest Porsche driver in America the last 3 years, Price Cobb.
I think the thing that they were looking for was that another American driver that could perhaps match John Nielsen's coolness and, knock on wood, the ability not to make mistakes under pressure, and I think that's what I bring.
With a year of the Camel GT Wars under his belt, John Nielsen sees himself as a new man.
I myself, I've changed. I know the circuits now. It was brand new to me last year. Also, America as such, I haven't been here. So I think I'm better. The team is better. So we can only look forward to a good and healthy season.
A year ago at Miami, Cobb and Nielsen waged a furious battle at the highest level of sportsmanship. Each earned the other's respect, and today they are a team.
It would have been easy for me to sort of push him a little bit on his back corner so he might have spun or something, but I would be in danger also, so I didn't do that. But, you know, he was actually expecting me to give him a little push, but it didn't happen, and I think I got a lot of respect from Price for not doing that. So, you know, it was exciting, but this year I'm with that man in the same car, so I don't think we can do any better than that, can we?
Here is the B.F. Goodrich car, the Bob Wollek car that is in command of the Miami Grand Prix. The Nissan has dropped to second, and that Jaguar, Cobb and Nielsen, maintain third spot.
Nissan has developed a new high-performance sports car with a modified Z-car engine, anti-sway bars front and rear, and anti-lock brakes. The cockpit was designed for one 6'2" driver and 4 6'2" passengers. Introducing the new Nissan Maxima, the 4-door sports car.
The embarrassing miscues, the performances at peak, the unusual antics, the plays of the week. Each Sunday night at 11 Eastern on ESPN Sports Center.
At the Miami Grand Prix, John Andretti, Bob Wollek, number 67. You're riding with Bob Wollek right now, the French driver, victorious at Le Mans, victorious at 24 hours in Daytona, continues to hold on to first place. Car in jeopardy is the car that won here in '87, led last year until it had a brake problem. The number 83 Nissan with Chip Robinson taking over the controls, immediately losing the lead. Albert Naon has come to third spot in the event, and the Jaguar has slipped back into fourth. They've just been in the pits. There's been a driver change, and Bob Barsha has more on them.
Price Cobb just climbed out of the number 61 Jaguar, giving over to his teammate John Nielsen, who'll take it the rest of the way. And Price is one whip puppy. I can tell you, when he got out of the car, I asked him if he could talk to me. It was all he could do to raise his eyes and look at me and say, just give me a minute. Now his team manager, Tony Dow, is chatting with him, getting what information they can out of him about the performance of the car. And as you can see, I think Tony is reasonably happy with the way his new man has performed today. Price put that car up in the top 3 and has been there hounding Chip Robinson through the later stages of this race. We expect Robinson in the pit shortly to give the car back over to Geoff Brabham, and then it's going to be interesting to see whether Brabham can overtake Nielsen, who is in the Jaguar and may not be quite as in the groove as Brabham may be at this point. As soon as we can get a chance to talk with Price, we'll do that. Right now, let's go back to the racing.
A perspiration-drenched, badly debilitated Price Cobb on pit road. As you see the 86, that's the Klaus Ludwig James Weaver combination that's been running in 5th, making their pit stop and coming back out again.
That'll be their last pit stop, I think, Ken. So the race is going to be between Brabham's and Andretti. 2 things have to happen. With time of the pit stop between Andretti and Brabham, and then can Brabham catch Andretti?
We'll check the interval between first and second to give you folks a better idea of how that is on the front of the race. Meanwhile, John Nielsen is currently in the 61 after a full year on the IMSA circuit. We asked John Nielsen what Jaguar's attitude was on Camel GT racing.
Well, you always do expect a lot because, you know, you have in Europe the best car. So we knew we had a good package when we came here to America. But because of the rules and things like that, we couldn't actually use the full, or use the package to the full advantage, because we had to cut down our engine sizes and things like that. So it did give us a bit of a setback, and we tried to do the best we could. And I guess generally Jaguar made a good impression to the IMSA racing series and the American scene. So it was nice.
They've certainly been a great addition to have Jaguar, but you really believe they built the best cars in Europe?
Well, yes, I suppose I do.
How about you, Black Collar?
Oh, no, I don't think they do.
The Nissan people have some pride, and the Toyota people. We could start with It's 13 seconds between first and second, between the European car that Bob Wollek is driving in Porsche 962 in front, and the Japanese car that Chip Robinson from New Jersey is in second place with. And then the Pontiac, Albert Naon and Jeff Klein, and that car number 10, the one you were so high on, is in third spot. We're checking interval here to give you an idea of the difference between first and third. You need to give a call for sure to Klein and Naon for the job they're doing. There is that second place car, Chip Robinson in the 83.
That Pontiac Firebird is America's hope in this race against the Japanese Nissan and the German Porsche. They're running third right now, and Klein and Naon look pretty strong.
Interesting firm, too, Spice Engineering from England. It's almost taken the position of March that they had a few years ago. He'd go to Indy in 32 out of 33 cars in the March chassis. Now to have a successful GTP light effort, you almost have to buy a Spice chassis, and they've come out with this very, very successful pure GTP car that's an extremely good chassis. Just look at that glare coming down the straight. That's just heading south of Biscayne Boulevard. See the buildings in the distance are low.
See the Freedom Tower right there on your right.
Yeah.
Well, the tactic of the B.F. Goodrich team, which is to run hard in the middle of the race, seems to be working very well. He's going to turn the car over to Jeff Andretti with about a 15-second bulge over the Nissan. And here he comes into the pit for the final pit stop. It's going to be very critical that they get this done within 30 seconds. Let's take a look.
Leader on pit road.
Okay, Bob Wollek comes into the pits. John Andretti, who's been waiting all day long for this opportunity to get in the car, helps him off with the seat belts. And in the meantime, the front tires are being changed. Fuel is going in. This should be the last stop for this car. Bob, I think, but look at this. Mr. Wollek is going to go it alone. He's going to pull the Ironman trick, and that's what John Andretti was worried about. He's not going to get a chance to drive today. Mr. Wollek's got a big ego. Mr. A.J. Foyt can tell you about that. 31 and 2/100 seconds, and he stalls the car going out. Bob Wollek wants to play the Ironman, and two men have run up pit road to push him to get him started. Whether he will or not remains to be seen. Take it away.
Car is still down. You can see on John Andretti, one of the ones pushing. It won't fire. Oh. The leader on pit road, and the car will not fire.
They got it now.
It is away. Costly time on pit road for car number 67.
That cost him about 15 or 20 seconds, Ken, so we'll see what happens. That evaporated his lead, and after the Nissan stops now, if the Nissan can stop within 30 seconds, it'll be a dead heat.
Chris, what went on down there?
Well, I called to talk to Jim Busby just a little bit ago, and I get the feeling that Busby owns the team, is the team manager. John Andretti didn't know when he was going to race. Bob Wollek is running this operation from the cockpit. He does have a big ego. He got into it at Daytona a couple years ago with A.J. Foyt, and he wants to be the Ironman. He wants to go the whole race alone, and it looks like he's going to do that. But it's interesting that they did not know he was going to come in. Moments before he came in, Jim Busby said we can go for another 25, maybe 30 minutes. And then over in a moment's notice, everybody scrambled with no planning. Bob Wollek is in charge here.
He is certainly amazing. Just phenomenal performance. He has done it before, and he continues to do it.
He's got 1 more hour to race, so the car can go the distance on this load of fuel. So at issue now here is how quickly can the Nissan get its fuel, change its drivers, and can Brabham catch this?
Coming back
into the pits. This wrecks their chances.
Let's see what's going to happen here. Car number 67 running in second place. Bob Wollek coming back on pit road.
He's getting out. He's loosening the belts right now, getting ready to get out.
He must not have liked what Chris Economaki said about him.
Here he is out of the car. Saying something to Mike Colucci and walking away.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the car.
there's also something very strange happening here because that car stalled going out, went one lap, seemed to be going pretty good, and now they pulled it right in.
What a shame to a magnificent performance today by that team.
Here's Chris Economaki.
Oh, here's this tired man. Bob, a great drive so far, but what brought you in?
I have a vibration from the transmission, and I don't know what it is. So I don't want something to break and hit the wall.
Why did you not get out and let John Andretti take over a moment ago?
Because I think I have a little bit more experience.
Okay, there you have it, right from the man, hot and sweaty and disappointed, out of the race with a vibrating transmission.
We'll be back with more of the Miami Grand Prix after these words.
Only Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring, makes cars come alive every week. GTs, sports sedans, collector cars, 4x4s, front drivers. And Auto Week makes racing come alive every week. Formula One, sports cars, stockers. Auto Week brings it home fast, days after the race. Auto Week makes you an insider with industry news, personality profiles, columnists, the best classified anywhere. Let Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring, make cars come alive for you. Call 1-800-554-3000 to get Auto Week at our special discount price. Just $17.25 for 52 issues, only 33 cents a week. You'll save 83% off the newsstand price, 25% off the basic rate. Call now, 1-800-554-3000. Let Auto Week make cars come alive for you every week.
Showtime is blowing away the competition. Showtime's box office blowout includes hits like 3 Men and a Baby, Good Morning Vietnam. You won't see those on HBO. You'll also see Eddie Murphy Raw, Fatal Attraction. You won't see those on HBO either. So sign up now for Showtime's box office blowout. Showtime exclusives. Here you see them, there you don't.
Introducing the FZR 600 from Yamaha. Don't say we didn't warn you. Ask about no money down financing at your local Yamaha dealer.
At the Miami Grand Prix, some of them are up cheering on. Chip Robinson and Brabham continuing to lead with the Nissan, and many are watching the web that is being woven by car number 67, a story unto itself. We're watching as Brabham and Robinson's car continues to lead. Price Cobb and John Nielsen. Nielsen now driving is in second with the Jaguar, and up to third is Geoff Klein, now at the controls of the Pontiac. But just a few moments ago, that story on car number 67 had another chapter, because John Andretti, right here, you're watching from just a few moments ago, slid into car number 67 and prepared to take the car out and put it through its paces. This was the car that Bob Wollek had been driving, and after 2 stints to come in for fuel, he failed to relinquish the seat to Andretti. Then we saw the car stall on pit road. After they tried to get it fired, Wollek took a lap, brought it back in, and as he told Chris Economaki, he thought it had transmission problems and thought that he needed to stay in the car because of his experience. As an old sea captain, Tom, how would you react to that?
Well, I kind of think I'd react like John Andretti, who got right into the car and said, well, I don't believe this car is undrivable. I'm going to try to do it. So here we see John climbing into the car and blasting off, but it didn't last very long.
He took 1 lap. The car came back on pit road. They did some more work on it. It has fallen several laps down, and it's back on the track again.
Yeah.
This is live from inside that car, the B.F. Goodrich Miller car, one of the same team that won at Daytona. And now Chris Economaki has more for us on pit road.
Well, when the car stopped, the transmission was fine, but when he went 1 lap, it was in trouble, and it could very well be because of the push start damaged the transmission.
You know, it's always interesting to think about how can a push start damage a transmission when 700 horsepower doesn't. It may just be the final little straw on some damage that was waiting to happen. I can understand what John Andretti is doing right now, that he just doesn't want to believe that car is really broken or there's anything wrong with it. He's hoping that maybe Wollek had an error of judgment because he's been in the car for a couple of hours in hot conditions. Maybe he's just not reading the problem correctly. That's what he's hoping right now.
Andretti did a strange thing, Bill. He had the front tires changed. He went out for a lap. After Wollek said the car was undrivable, Andretti gets in the car, goes out for a lap, comes back in a lap later, has the front tires changed. Now he's back out again.
Yeah, I think it's worth a try. At this point, you gamble and go with anything you can, because after you've driven a car that long, your senses do tend to get a little bit numb. You're taking tremendous shocks through your arms, and it's good to get somebody else in for a different view.
5 laps down is car 67, John Andretti. Now you are back with the lead machine, and he is in a lap unto himself. Chip Robinson is still driving. Geoff Brabham is standing by at this moment down on pit road, preparing to get back into the car for the final portion of the race. Meanwhile, John Nielsen is in the Jaguar, which is in second, and the Pontiac with Jeff Klein is in third. The Toyota number 98 with Chris Cord has been running in fourth. We just saw one of the Toyotas come by slowly. Was that one and the same?
I think the 99 car is parked down in front of us here.
They brought it around and parked it.
Right.
Here is that Jaguar, number 61, that is maintaining second, a lap down to the leader here at Miami.
His only hope now, Ken, is that the 83 Nissan of Geoff Brabham and Chip Robinson has some big problem here in the last 50 minutes of the race.
But, Tom, let's get back to what also can be a problem here, and that is debris off other cars, which has been the Achilles heel for so many.
Anything can happen on this racetrack because the cars splatter against the wall, the fenders come off, the hoods come off, the rear wings come off, so anything can happen to the Nissan, but it's running very, very strongly. Chip Robinson's doing an excellent job. He played a waiting game. He let Bob Wollek run. It looks like Wollek ran himself silly, got out of the car, thought something was wrong, and the heat got him.
Meanwhile, let's get back on this Nissan story. Bob Barsha is down there in the Nissan pits where Geoff Brabham is getting ready to come back out again. What's going on down there?
Well, it's kind of a good news, bad news situation, Ken. The good news is because of the problems to the Andretti Wollek Porsche, the 83 Nissan is back in the lead. The bad news is Chip Robinson has no clutch in that car. So what he's going to have to do is pop it out of gear as he breaks into a halt here in the pit, give it over to Brabham, and they'll have to push him until he can get it first gear and get it back out on the racetrack. They haven't got much room to do it because their pit is right at the exit of the pits. And remember, he's got that red light. If there is traffic coming, he's going to have to try to stop that car and get it rolling again without the clutch, and that is going to be a real dramatic moment.
We'll be back to follow more of that story here shortly at Miami. It continues to be Nissan in front trying for their second win in this classic. We'll have more of the story shortly.
There's excitement here at the World Council of Car Makers about Pontiac's Grand Prix.
Your customer get excited about Grand Prix, low price?
They sure are.
We excited too. Legend cannot compete.
As Motor Trend's 88 Car of the Year, our Grand Prix beats Legend again in 89 by $8,000.
I can't believe it's less than our new T-Bird.
Pontiac's Grand Prix starts as low as $13,899.
But that's only half price of BMW.
Get $1,000 back or 4.9% financing at Barenco, Boomershine, McNamara, John McDonald, Hennessy, or Sykes & Swanson Pontiac.
Your money, what you do with it is your business. How easy it is to get to it, to use it, that's our business. So at First American, you'll find branches where you need them. Close to work, close to home. You'll find services that fit the way you live. And you'll find people who don't forget the only reason they're there is to make your life a little easier. First American, there's more to banking than money.
It's time to play ball. Unbelievable play! Sunday nights, ESPN puts you in a box seat for live college baseball featuring the nation's top teams and heaviest hitters. We'll cover all the bases, including the NCAA College Baseball World Series. Sunday night college baseball, live on ESPN.
Boscobel Beach. For the family set, the play set, the happy set, and the wet set. An all-inclusive freedom holiday from Super Clubs Jamaica.
The leader is pitting. Chip Robinson onto pit road. Jeff Brabham is standing by. Let's go to the leader's pits.
Okay, Jeff Brabham's playing traffic. Top, very calm, cool, and collected as number 83 comes in. Stops. We start our stopwatch, and Chip Robinson gets out. Talks briefly to Brabham. Long-handled windshield cleaner in action. Front tires. Rear tires as well. It'll be a brand new car and lots of fuel going in with fumes. The volatile fuel these turbo cars use. This is a fast stop. And away he goes in 24.81 seconds. And now let's find out from Mr. Robinson what kind of shape this leading car is right now. He's watching very carefully as it gets pushed out. And everybody's applauding here in the pits.
Shelton's number 62 has crashed. Number 62, that Porsche 962 with Derek Bell and Shelton, is in the wall.
That's Tom Shelton sitting in the car right now, and he appears hurt.
That's just out of turn 11.
He hit on the right side of his car, the driver's side of the car, and he looks like he might be trapped in the car. The driver, he'd usually get out fast if he could.
The foot boxes in the 962s, they're very, very small. And of course, he's coming out of a corner, so his right foot's going to be hard down on the throttle. What would happen at that point when the front end hits the wall is to pinch the aluminum box around his foot, sandwiching it between the wall and the brake pedal.
Tom Shelton out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, trying to get himself out of this thing.
Yeah, he's okay.
Back with the leader. It is Brabham in command. The second place car a lap down is Nielsen, number 61. Chip Robinson standing by with Chris Economaki.
Excuse me. Chip, what kind of shape is your racing car these days?
Well, it's not bad, but there's no clutch. I'd say 15, 20 laps into my stint, the clutch went away completely, and you're shifting without the clutch.
What does that do to your lap time?
Well, every once in a while it'll throw some inconsistency in them because it'll hang up in gear as you're trying to downshift. It's pretty easy going up. But the big concern was getting out of the pits, and Geoff was able to get, they gave him a push, and he was able to get it in gear, and that went all right. So he should be all right now.
Okay, so you're confident you can keep it up front there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for your help. There you hear from Chip Robinson.
Taking the lap back and now running in the lead lap is number 61. You saw what happened. We have two cars now in the lead lap. And you see now Steve Shelton being taken from his car. He's injured one of his feet. Being assisted back just behind the wall in turn 11. Shelton out of his car after this crash at turn 11. Tom Shelton of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
How unfortunate. That was just really sad that Tom had this car for a single race. The car has already been sold to a Canadian businessman, and
Tom is not happy right now. He's in some pain, but he was walking under his own power.
Well, that Canadian businessman is going to get a somewhat crumpled Porsche 962, but the cars are resilient and it can be rebuilt. And the next car we're likely to see Tom and brother Steve Shelton in is one of the new Ferrari F40 supercars. The Shelton brothers run the nation's most successful Ferrari dealership out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They're going to get one of those new F40s, bring it over here and try to run it in the GTO class. They leave for Italy next week.
Tom Shelton looking somewhat in pain and a great deal of frustration after his effort ends here in turn 11, the Miami Grand Prix. In front, Brabham. And from his viewpoint, watching this 1.87-mile course, as you heard, the transmission in serious trouble on this car, completes another lap, comes down across the stripe, and back in the lead lap. There you see number 61 trying to draw away, get himself back into this race.
Shades of last year.
Ah, yes.
Ken, as we watched Tom Shelton go into the wall, 61 with John Nielsen in it, past 83 with Jeff Brabham, and Jeff appeared to miss a gear, or the car faltered as that happened. So I don't think Jeff's car is totally
and look at this for a break. The pace car has put on its lights. We may get a full course caution in which the pace car is out and crawl in behind the Nissan.
Right, pace car is out, and this is the brake that the Jaguar needs, number 61. It can circulate around the track, pull back up on the field, and And the Nissan, with a badly injured transmission, is in jeopardy of losing once again. The winner in '87 last year dominated, then the brakes had problems. This year it is transmission that's creating the problem.
Jaguar here, the 61 car is going to gain almost 2 miles just by the stroke of fate that Tom Shelton went in the wall. The pace car will pick up 83, Geoff Brabham. Brabham will have to stay behind the pace car, and Nielsen will race like hell to catch up from 2 miles behind.
1 lap down is the Pontiac in third. We'll be back for the conclusion of the Miami Grand Prix shortly.
Our cars are designed with a unique understanding of the how and why and where of driving. But more importantly, of the who sitting behind the wheel. An understanding that there are still a whole lot of you out there who drive not because you have to, but because you like to. Nissan, built for the human race.
Mine's pushing 250,000 miles.
Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. Over 28 million adults get athlete's foot.
I'm Jim Byrne. I had athlete's foot until I used NP27. It has an ingredient recommended by doctors.
Look, NP27 stops the burning, itching of athlete's foot fast.
NP27. Nothing's a better cure for athlete's foot.
When your Performance Pro bolts on Dunlop Performance radials, you share something with the world's most demanding race car drivers. Your tires are one with the road. Now you understand why performance is our passion. See your Dunlop Performance Pro for the ride of your life.
Don't forget, every week, lead off your motorsports coverage with Dave Despain, highlighting the week's top Formula One, kart, NASCAR, IMSA, other events and profiles of the men behind the wheel. Auto racing's latest news and previews of the top weekend events Thursday evening, 6 o'clock on Motor Week Illustrated. And on Friday night at 7:30, join Bob Jenkins and Larry Newber for more of the top motorsports stories of the week. It's just one more reason why ESPN racing coverage wins awards as the most comprehensive of its kind in television. ESPN, your driving force in auto racing coverage. We are here at Miami, final moments of the 7th annual Nissan Grand Prix of Miami. At this point, Nissan is in front. The situation is this. Chip Robinson has stepped out of number 83. Geoff Brabham is back in. They have a serious transmission problem. A caution came out for Tom Shelton, who crashed at turn 11, and it allowed John Nielsen's Jaguar 1 lap down. He just passed the Brabham car on the tail end of the lead lap to circulate all the way around the track. He is back in the pack as we get ready to go green. He's got a lot of work to do, but his car is in much sounder condition than the Brabham, which is rather the Nissan Brabham-driven car, which is up in front. We're getting set for a start. Brabham in the Nissan is leading. In the same lap is the Jaguar. There you see it, number 61. 1 lap back is the Naon Klein Pontiac in third. In fourth is the number 98 Toyota. Cord, Olson, and Fangio now assisting. Then in fifth, it is Durst and Brockman. Sixth, the number 67. Andretti is still out here in that car that Bob Wollek rode off and walked away from. Seventh is Ricci and Ballerino. Here's Chris Economaki.
I'm with Albert Naon, who brought his Pontiac up to second place earlier before change. It had to be a high point of your racing career, am I right?
Oh, I agree. I think this is extra special in front of my hometown crowd. I can't, I'm so happy because the car was running excellent. Spice Engineering just gave me a tremendous car.
What about the Pontiac engine as a factor in this type of racing down the road?
The engine hasn't given us any problems whatsoever. And I think in a tight track like this, I don't know if it's, it's warm. I don't know if we have an advantage over the turbos. But I mean, the engine was just running fine. The chassis was perfect. They just gave me all around a perfect car.
Well, the driving wasn't bad either. How about your line third? Good luck to you. Back to you, Ken.
Taking a look at Camel Lights as we get ready to go racing again. It's Lieber and Marvin in the 55 car, now leading that 55 car in front out of the Huffaker Racing stable, Pontiac Firebird. Then Schubert and Ludemann in the second position in lights. Getting set for a start. Pressure is really on Geoff Brabham and the Nissan team as we get ready to go green. Beautiful day in Miami, getting set for this restart. It has been the third total track yellow situation of the day. And on the break, Brabham streaks out in front. There was a Camel Light car, that little Ferrari behind him, and he used it well to streak away.
Just perfect spot for Brabham. He wants to try and get as much of a gap as possible because he knows that he has lost this tremendous lead over the Jaguar.
Let's follow the number 61 car now as John Nielsen from Denmark tries to weave through traffic and at the final moments get back up to challenge the Nissan of Geoff Brabham.
This is going to be a real cut and weave, and look at the back of the car, snaking out under hard acceleration. He's got stone-cold tires right now, but the wheel spin that he gets will actually help keep it. It's just like a drag car doing a burnout to get the tires hot in a hurry.
He's got 4 Camel Light cars in front of him right now, and he's weaving his way through them. That's Scott Schubert, who's in second Camel Light. He's about to get passed right now. Jaguar going down the inside. Here he comes up on the Ferrari-powered car of Uli Berry, and right by the Ferrari. So John Nielsen is slicing his way through this group and is in pursuit of Geoff Brabham.
Brabham's transmission feeling very sickly right now. And car number 61, a sounder machine. Now you're with Geoff Brabham in the lead. There's approximately 16 minutes left in this race. There you see the leader, number 83. Brabham in control.
There's one car that, car 61, John Nielsen is going to have to get around. Between the 83 car here and Nielsen is the number 86 Porsche 962 driven by Klaus Ludwig, and Ludwig will not let Nielsen by very easily just for pride alone.
First to second interval is being shown at 13 and 8/10 seconds. 13.8, guys.
Not a lot of time, and there's not a lot of time left in the race. Just a similar format to last year. John Nielsen again in a Jaguar, again in second place, and again closing on the leader. Well, I think the leader is different this year. Instead of Price Cobb, it's Geoff Brabham in the Nissan.
The Durst-Brockman car, number 09, Steve Durst and Mike Brockman in the Buick Spice, is now shown as 5th overall. They're a prototype car. Then in 6, also 5 laps down, is John Andretti.
We're seeing the car there, the 86 car of Klaus Ludwig, with another Porsche 962, the 67 car.
John Andretti. Closing, moving through traffic, trying to get back in this race. The Jaguar trying to beat this car with Geoff Brabham.
Because of its complex structure, the spine is subject to a variety of injuries. One of the most painful occurs here in the lower back. If left untreated, the sharp pain may spread to the hips or down the legs to the feet. But there is hope. Using thermography, injured areas are pinpointed by their color temperature, almost like having a picture of the pain. So why suffer? Take down this number.
Call now for an immediate appointment at the Arrowhead Clinic nearest you. 961-5577.
Now you have the financial opportunity of a lifetime. Florida First Federal Savings Bank has foreclosed on 80 Gulfront units at Sunbird Condominiums on beautiful Panama City Beach. These Gulfront condominiums are priced at $57,700 to $68,800 with up to 95% financing available at just 7.98% interest. Come down and stay for just $35 a night in a Gulfront Sunbird condominium. For more information and reservations, call 1-800-225-3394.
If you love cars, you'll love Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring. Every week, Auto Week puts you inside the world's most exciting cars. GTs, sports sedans, collector cars, 4x4s, front drivers. Auto Week makes you an insider with industry news, personality profiles, old cars, columnists, the best classified anywhere. And nobody covers racing like Auto Week. You get the fastest coverage of Formula One, sports cars, stockers, Indy cars. It's all in Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring every week. Call 1-800-554-3000 to get a full year of Auto Week at our special discount price. Just $17.25 for 52 issues, only 33 cents a week. You'll save 83% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-554-3000. Let Auto Week put you in the driver's seat every week.
The B.F. Goodrich car, winner of the Sunbank 24, has just moved around the John Andretti car, gotten by him, looking now to pull up, and he'll take on, I believe, the Albert Naon car very shortly here as he sorts himself out through lap traffic. Remember, he is the only car, the 61 car, that is running in the lead lap with Brabham in the 83.
I think he's got a pretty good break right now, Ken. The only car between he and Brabham is number 86, the Haviland car with Klaus Ludwig on board. So he does have clear track right now.
I thought he had the 10 car in there as well. So if it's only the 86, but that's still, as Tom Blackcaller pointed out, a big obstacle for him.
It will be, yes.
Interval continues to shrink. It's less than 12 seconds now between those two running the lead lap. Let's take a look at that interval. Here is the leader. We'll get to the front straightaway. We'll check that interval. Sort these cars out.
I expect once Brabham gets the tires hot, you're going to see the interval grow. I don't think Nielsen can catch Brabham in that car, even without a clutch in the Nissan.
I agree, Bill. If the interval does not grow, it means there's a problem aboard the Nissan. Because Brabham should be able to make the interval grow.
There's the Ludwig, number 86, running 9th on the field overall. In 8th is a Campbell Light car. That is Schubert and Ludeman. Now there's the number 61 car that is 2nd. And that interval is being shown. Here it comes. Here's the 86 car, Ludwig. Over 10, over 11.
Brabham is stretching it.
17.3. Transmission or no transmission. He must be using the pedals as foot pedals or something out there to walk this car.
I don't think he's having much of a problem at all. As I say, with straight cut gears in these transmissions, it really is not difficult to shift them without a clutch. For a street car, it is hard to do that because they have synchro mesh that gets in the way. But when you try this for the first time, you almost can't believe how easily the selector will fall into the next gear.
The Jaguar doesn't look real happy on the course right now. You see, Nielsen was kind of sawing his way around that turn, meaning the car is pushing. It's not wanting to turn in.
Historically, they have always looked very twitchy. They're an extremely harshly sprung chassis. And all last season long, we could see them just hopping over bumps where the Nissan would absorb the bumps. These cars tended to rebound a lot. Price Cobb was telling me they're a fairly difficult car under very, very heavy braking, too, because of that twitchy nature.
Here's John Andretti. Andretti is chasing John Nielsen and not letting him get too far ahead, so that B.F. Goodrich car doesn't appear to have too great a problem.
6th place, 5 laps down after all that time in the pits.
You know, an interesting point, Ken. It was the transmission trouble that put the Nissan out at Daytona at the 20th hour. Granted, that's a lot longer, but here we're having transmission trouble once again, so maybe there's a weakness in that car.
Getting down to 12 minutes remaining in the event.
With 12 minutes to go, the 61 car of John Nielsen will have to gain more than a second a lap on Geoff Brabham. And unless something goes wrong with Brabham's car, it's going to be very, very difficult for John Nielsen to do.
Or if he runs up on one of the Camel Lights cars here and has to get down through that gear all the way down somewhere, something should come amiss in front of him to create a little interest.
Geoff just cleaned off the Nissan Motorsport sign.
Didn't he? He just adjusted the sign. That was great.
Taking care of business.
He is. Smart young man.
Maybe he's having another child like Price Cobb. He's got to have the sponsor be real happy so that baby will have new shoes.
I would think, Tom, that the gentleman in charge of the pits down here, Mr. Kastner, was on the radio to him and saying, make sure they see the sign.
Kastner's a boating champion. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard that. David Hobbs talked about that.
He said Kastner's a sailing champion from Marina del Rey.
They're taking over the world, Ken. We got to watch out for these guys.
Gentlemen, down here on pit road, I've just made a quick walking tour of the Jaguar and Nissan pits, which are virtually next door to one another. And if the faces on the crew are any indication, Geoff Brabham and Nissan have this one in the bag. Their crew is slapping each other on the back and laughing and making plans for dinner. Down on the Jaguar crew, everybody's hanging heads like they were on the Cincinnati side of the Super Bowl. So right now, I'd say if the crew is any indication, Nissan feels like they've got this one won.
It'll be win number 1 for the Brabham organization, the Nissan team. Geoff Brabham and Chip Robinson looking very good at this point. 17-second advantage in the final moments of the Miami Grand Prix.
We started 5 cars with one 2-year-old die-hard battery and 1 car at 30 below after 8 hours in a cold room. Today's die-hard with power to start your car and a whole lot more.
Make the moment sparkle when Tini and Rossi are spumante. The taste will lift you up. Come on and let the feeling grow. Make the moment sparkle. Those magic moments when it all begins. Martini and Rossi are spumante. Make the moment sparkle.
Over 28 million adults get athlete's foot.
I'm Jim Byrne. I had athlete's foot until I used NP27. It has an ingredient recommended by doctors.
Look, NP27 stops the burning, itching of athlete's foot fast.
NP27. Nothing's a better cure for athlete's foot.
ESPN opens the door on NCAA basketball, slam-jammed with color and excitement. See a parade of outstanding players in sparkling displays every night. March Madness begins with an ESPN tradition. Championship Week, 62 teams, 31 games, 23 conference championships, the best basketball of the season. The color and excitement of Championship Week continues tonight, live on ESPN. It's time to play ball. Unbelievable play! Sunday nights, ESPN puts you in a box seat for live college baseball featuring the nation's top teams and heaviest hitters. We'll cover all the bases, including the NCAA College Baseball World Series. Sunday night college baseball, live on ESPN.
Seem to go better with Brabham. Geoff Brabham in the Nissan, extending the lead of this car. Had some sour moments here of recent, but things are really improving for them, and the Jaguar hopes are diminishing as we move into the final moments. There are now 9 minutes left in this 3-hour endurance contest, and here you see the number 83 car. It is Geoff Brabham with the advantage, making a move on car number 42. That's Howard Cherry once again getting lapped in the Porsche Fab car.
Ken, Geoff had trouble on that last lap. He had to cut his way through about 5 Camel Light cars. He lost 4 seconds of his lead. He's now down to about 13 seconds ahead. Well, that's the kind of brakes that John Nielsen in the 61 Jaguar car are going to need to make this into a race.
There you see Klaus Ludwig directly behind in the 86. One car in between him, a light car. Ludwig trying to get sorted out, get a lap back. The number 86, 9th on the field. Here's the Jaguar in 2nd place, going around the Gaston Andre Ferrari Camel Light category.
Again, just that twitchy characteristic of the Jag, that the real heavy braking area in that car, it darts back and forth. It looks very, very difficult to drive there.
John Andretti holds on in 5th spot with the car number 67 for Jim Busby. There'll be some stories written about that activity in the coming week.
It's always good to have a board of directors argument in the middle of a race.
One very adversarial gentleman sitting in the chair that is most important.
Saying, I got more experience and I'm staying in.
1984, they ran, 1988, they ran 124 laps. And thus far this year, they've covered 125 laps.
Wow. So with all the crashes we've had and cars against the wall, it's been a fast race relative to the previous Miami Grand Prix contest.
Here you see John Andretti still at work in car number 67.
I don't know. I think we better check his birth certificate to see how old John really is there.
Doesn't look like he can see out.
No, he doesn't. I think John has his shoulder straps too tight. It pulled him down in the car, but he's going very fast. He's keeping right up with the Jaguar. He's not letting him get out of his sight. So John's doing a great job of driving the car that apparently doesn't have a gearbox.
I just saw him using the shifter there.
I guess maybe it does.
So, Geoff Brabham stays first. John Nielsen for Jaguar stays second. For Pontiac, Jeff Klein stays in third.
Now there, Brabham is slowing down.
Way down.
This is way down. This is a very slow. Now, that happened to him before. It happened about 10 laps before. It's like he missed a gear, got it out of gear, got slipped out of gear, something like that. That will cost him another 3 or 4 seconds.
He's slowing down here.
That car is going slowly right now.
It exhibited that same characteristic about 10 laps ago. Now, I'll bet we'll see the margin to be under 10 seconds now, as long as John Nielsen was able to keep hauling.
Less than 6 minutes remaining.
We may have a race here.
Oh, geez. Where is that Spice?
Well, he's back in third, and he's a lap down.
He can still win it.
The man that we want to watch is John Nielsen in the 61 trying to close up here. The early prediction from Bill Adam was to watch that Spice Pontiac. It was going to be formidable, and indeed it has been.
It's the American hope.
Third.
I hate losing a prediction.
Back at speed is number 83.
Yeah, he's right back at speed. He hasn't lost much more, but his margin has to be decreasing. We'll check it now.
Looking for the Jaguar. The one man that is not looking for him is Geoff Brabham, sitting astride the Nissan number 83 in the 7th annual Miami Grand Prix.
Margin is still up around 12 or 13 seconds, so Brabham with his little miscue didn't seem to lose very much.
There's excitement here at the World Council of Car Makers about Pontiac's Grand Prix.
Your customers get excited about Grand Prix, low price?
They sure are.
We excited too. Legend cannot compete.
As Motor Trend's 88 Car of the Year, our Grand Prix beats Legend again in 89 by $8,000.
I can't believe it's less than our new T-Bird.
Pontiac's Grand Prix starts as low as $13,899.
But that's only half price of BMW.
Get $1,000 back or 4.9% financing at Barenco, Boomershine, McNamara, John McDonnell, Hennessy, or Sykes & Swanson Pontiac.
Your money, what you do with it is your business. How easy it is to get to it, to use it, that's our business. So at First American, you'll find branches where you need them. Close to work, close to home. You'll find services that fit the way you live. And you'll find people who don't forget the only reason they're there is to make your life a little easier. First American, there's more to banking than money.
The last time you subscribed to a news magazine, what did you get? A free phone that you've never used? Or a calculator that conked out on you? Insight is a different kind of news magazine. Instead of insulting your intelligence by offering you some free plastic gadget, they'd rather give you 3 free issues. That makes sense because only by reading Insight can you discover how different and really valuable this magazine is. Instead of just rehashing the week's happenings like others do, Insight anticipates and stays ahead of the news, searches out vital stories that need to be told, and tells them long before they're covered by other media. Call now to receive the next 3 issues free. Subscribe if you wish at the money-saving rate of just $15 for 30 issues. Or return your invoice marked cancel and pay nothing.
Call 1-800-426-0400 to get the next 3 issues of Insight magazine without obligation. Yours to keep whether or not you subscribe. Call now 1-800-426-0400.
We're back with you once again. Time remaining about 5 minutes, a little less than 5 minutes in the Miami Grand Prix. The Nissan is out in front. Geoff Brabham seeking a victory, first one of the year. Ran beautifully in Daytona, but did not run the 24-hour distance. Here in this 3-hour contest, in the final moments, has the advantage, checking the interval between first and second place as they come around this time. The Jaguar of John Nielsen in the second position and closing on an injured Nissan, transmission giving it problems.
The Nissan is acting a little bit erratically, but still holds a lead of around 12 seconds. It was about 12 seconds 1 lap ago. The Jaguar was not able to take advantage of the faltering transmission.
Now, I'm afraid the margin that we're seeing right there is just a huge amount of time to try and gather it back in the next 5 minutes of racing.
13 and a half.
Hey, all of the Jag people can pray for right now is for the Nissan to have that little stutter step again. Well, You see Nielsen just bounce it off the curb there. That was interesting. Just a little haze coming from the front wheel there, that left front wheel area.
Thing hanging off the front.
Yeah, look at that again. There it is. I think he's got a tire rubbing on that car. Watch the left front wheel.
Well, Tony Dow, the team manager of the Jaguar team, was telling me that he's sick of having a stiff British upper lip, but looks like they're going to have to do it again. Unless something happens here, they're due for another second, which is a fine finish. And really, truth be known, will put Jaguar in a very strong position for the season.
Oh, yeah. Tony and his fellas do a marvelous job with these cars. Really great. He deserves a great deal of the credit for that victory last year in Del Mar. It was brilliant planning on his part.
Schubert and Ludeman continuing to lead in Camel Light. O'Neill and Steve Shelton are in second, a lap behind them. Jim Downing is back up to third with Howard Cass. Meade and Cherry are running fourth. Roca and Lopez are in fifth. Lieber and Marvin back to sixth now. Andre Ferrari is seventh.
Jim Downing is a great story, Ken. He just never, ever seems to run out of the top 3 or 4. No matter what happens, he's not the fastest car, but he runs and runs.
Boy, smart driver, too.
Less than 5 minutes remaining for Brabham to win his second Miami Grand Prix. Did it in '87. Now they're being told that there are about 2 minutes remaining for the outcome of this 7th annual go before the largest house ever to view it. Great crowd is out, and it looks like Nissan is going to put their punctuation mark to this one in the next couple of minutes.
It's been a hard race for them, though, Ken. It's not been easy. This has been a real scrap, and Brabham and Chip Robinson have shown their mettle and driving magnificently, and the car has been very strong the whole race.
Sebring is next for them, and of course it's on one of the toughest tracks there is, that old airport in Sebring, Florida. That'll really twist a car.
That will twist a car, all right. If there's something that can break, you'll find out at Sebring.
Bring you right out. Nielsen still back about 12, 13 seconds from the leader. He's made a game effort to get back into this. But for the moment, it seems to be all Geoff Brabham's. After that incredible year, and think that Geoff Brabham has scored all of those Nissan victories. That one here in '87, 10 last year, 9 in regular competition, then the race over at Tampa at the end of the season, that World Challenge.
There's a lap and a half to go now, Ken, and it's really getting down to an impossible situation for the Jaguar. The Nissan just now has to coast around to the finish.
You can see, look at Geoff, he's still fighting that wheel too. See his hand up there in the sun, still hitting all the bumps, a lot of shock coming back through that wheel.
Have a thing like tennis elbow when something like this is over?
No, the proverbial green poultice will fix it. 20s and 100s, and it'll feel just fine.
I lost the whole function of my right arm after the Daytona 24-hour race in 1984. I couldn't move my right arm.
For how long?
Oh, for about 6 hours. Something like that.
A lap to go. 1 remaining. Geoff Brabham in number 83 is about to get this '89 season into the same winning mode that he established in 1988 when he set a record of 8 straight victories.
What an example he sets. He is just so quiet and such a gentle person. Really, really a nice man to model yourself after. Drives beautifully. Again, here we have this car finishing the race, and once again, not a mark on it. How many times did we see that last year that he finished, the car looks like it could go into his shoulder?
You know, one of the things about this race and this crowd as we're watching is the enthusiasm with which his victory will be greeted. You'd think you were at an NFL game, or that the Miami Heat had finally warmed up or something. But they are really excited about this race.
Yeah, the people in Miami do love motor racing. They're very, very enthusiastic.
You can hear them cheering when they were on pit road making that driver change.
No, that was when I stood up by the window, Ken.
Here is Geoff Brabham in the final moments.
Well, we're watching Geoff cruise to victory. Brent O'Neill is trying to catch Jim Downing for second place in Camel Light. That's back there a ways, but it's a good race.
Here he comes.
Down for the checkered flag. And the win is Nissan. Miami Grand Prix 1989. Chip Robinson, you see him standing there amidst the crew. A grand and glorious moment for them, and what a moment for Jag to get back into this race. They lost one car. John Nielsen gave them a tremendous run at the finish and came to within 12 seconds. Not that 4 1/1000ths of a second we saw a year ago, but an excellent run for a 3-hour contest. Naone and Klein will bring that Pontiac home in third, and the interval is 8 seconds between first and second. In this form of racing, that's a good finish.
Not too bad at all. Hard-fought 3-hour race.
Chip Robinson and Geoff Brabham did a terrific job driving. Looks like Scott Schubach's going to win in Camel Light. Jim Downing and Brent O'Neill are having a great fight for second.
We'll be back to meet the winner of the 1989 Nissan Grand Prix of Miami following these messages.
We started 5 cars with one 2-year-old Die-Hard battery and 1 car at 30 below after 8 hours in a cold room. Today's Die-Hard with power to start your car and a whole lot more.
There's a rough road ahead with no end in sight. Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single American, European, and Japanese car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
So pistons are protected from friction mile after mile. Valves are protected from wear year in, year out.
That's why Quaker State engines run strong and run long.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
When your Performance Pro bolts on Dunlop Performance radials, you share something with the world's most demanding race car drivers. Your tires are one with the road. Now you understand why performance is our passion. See your Dunlop Performance Pro for the ride of your life.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why Sports Cream? Massaging Sports Cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no greasy stains. Why Sports Cream? Because it works.
My mom's going to Tokyo on business. Tokyo, where's that? About 1,000,000 miles away. Wow, she better bring a sweater.
Every day, Northwest flies from more of the U.S. to more of Asia than any other airline.
This is ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
Victory Lane at the Miami Grand Prix is presented by America's best-selling replacement battery, the Sears Die-Hard. Here's Chris Economaki.
Order Ralph Sanchez has just congratulated Chip Robinson and Geoff Brabham, the winners of today's Nissan Grand Prix of Miami. The sponsors team won. How tough were those last few laps with that ailing car, Geoff?
Well, you know, the clutch is gone, but with these type of gearboxes, it really isn't too big a deal. You've got to be a little careful changing down, but changing up, you just go ahead as normal. But the gearbox in the car was just fantastic for the whole race, and we're just happy to bring it home a winner.
What were you thinking about Chip when the Jaguar was chipping away at him in the closing laps?
Well, the team was getting pretty excited, and I was just sitting there saying, it's not over till the checkered flag comes out, and you guys just calm down. They were making me nervous getting that excited.
Everybody's smiling now. All day long, you had a long face. What about the $70,000 now? How are you going to split that up?
Oh, probably about 90% for me and 10 for Chip.
You ever think about money on a day like this?
No way. All we're trying to do is bring the car home a winner, and it's great to bring Ralph his first win here after like 5 years of trying with the extra spirit of a Miami car, and the Nissan just ran great, and hopefully we're off to a good start this season.
Well, that's good. We want to wish you both well, and thanks very much. And now let's go to Bob Varsha with the winner of the Camel Lights class.
Hey, Chris, what's the big deal? Brabham had help from Chip Robinson. Scott Schubach here ran the entire Camel Lights race all by himself, and he obviously needs some help in taking care of those hot hands. Scott, what was it like?
It was kind of easy in the first part because all I had to do was set a rhythm, and then Marvin got in front of me, and that made it real difficult. I had to come in, get fuel, and then get a new set of tires. And with the new set of tires, I was able to run a lot faster, and I guess my crew chief is telling me we were catching them, but I was working my hide off.
How'd you finally get by?
Well, Marvin, I guess, had a problem. He had to pull off during the caution period.
They also serve who stand and wait. Linda Ludeman was sitting by waiting to get into the car. She didn't get that opportunity, but it's the team that wins.
So there you have the winners. In Camel Light, it was Scott Schubat's team. Linda Ludeman standing by as the co-driver today. Downing and Katz came home in second in lights. Looking at the overall finish, it was Geoff Brabham coming home first in the Nissan, then the Jaguar with John Nielsen came home second. The Pontiac finished in third in our final results, and the Toyota finds fourth place. Andretti and Wollek finish in fifth after all that controversy around that car this afternoon. In the light standings, Schubat wins, and Jim Downing back for second. O'Neill and Shelton finishing in third place. Average speed was 81.4 miles per hour. There were 3 full course cautions in the course of today's contest. The Nissan Grand Prix of Miami is won by Team Nissan. Chip Robinson and Geoff Brabham are successful for the second time for this team, winning earlier in 1987. For Bob Barsha and Bill Adam, Tom Blackhaller, and Chris Economaki, I'm Ken Squier at Miami.
The 1989 IMSA Nissan Grand Prix of Miami has been brought to you by Nissan, built for the human race. By Quaker State Motor Oil, the big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. And by Dunlop High Performance Radials, unleash the Dunlop legend.